In some homes, silence is louder than noise. In some families, love dies slowly, not by strangers, but by blood. This is not a story of strangers. This is a story of sisters, and how jealousy buried innocence alive. Before we continue, please remember to subscribe, like and comment. Thank you. Long before the world became noisy with cars and wires, there was a village called Umudike, a land surrounded by thick forests, red earth roads, and ancient traditions passed down like sacred wounds. In Umudike, a man's pride was not measured by his wealth, but by the sons who carried his name. A man without a son walked with his head low, no matter how rich he was, and a woman who bore only daughters lived under quiet shame. Sandra lived in a compound that once echoed with laughter but now carried only complaints. She had given her husband 3 daughters. Sandra, the first strong-willed, loud, always wanting attention. Amaka, the second observant, silent, but deeply jealous. Neka, the third soft-spoken in public, cruel in private. Their father, Okari, was a respected man in the village. But respect could not silence the ache in his heart. Every evening, as he returned from the village square, his words fell like stones. 3 daughters. 3 chances wasted. Will my name end with me? Those words did not fall on empty air. They landed on Sandra's heart. At night, when the children slept, Sandra cried alone. She cried into her wrapper. She cried into the darkness. She cried to a God who seemed silent. The daughters heard the arguments. They heard the insults. They felt the tension. And slowly bitterness entered their blood. Women whispered when Sandra passed. She is a good wife, but 3 girls, no son? What a pity. Pity is sometimes worse than hatred. It eats slowly. One moonless night, Sandra made a decision that would change everything. She wrapped herself in a white cloth, tied her hair without decoration, and stepped into the dark. She was going to the forbidden river, a river no woman visited without desperation, a river where gods listened, but never begged. The forest was quiet as she knelt by the riverbank. Her tears fell into the water. The river began to move. The air grew cold. Then the river goddess appeared, tall, glowing, neither kind nor cruel. Her voice echoed like thunder beneath water. Woman of tears, why have you come? Sandra bowed low. I want a son, so my husband will love me, so my name will not be mocked. There was a long silence. Then the goddess spoke again. You will not bear a son. Sandra's heart broke. But the goddess continued. You will bear a child who will change your family's destiny, a child who will bring your household before God. Confused, afraid, hopeful, Sandra accepted. From that night, her womb changed. Her body glowed differently. Her dreams became strange, full of light, forests, crowns, and blood. Her husband noticed. Maybe this one will be a boy, he said. The daughters noticed too, and jealousy was planted. After 9 months, during a heavy rainstorm, Sandra gave birth. But when the child cried, the midwives froze. The baby was a girl, but not an ordinary girl. Her skin shimmered softly. Her eyes were calm, too calm for a newborn, and from her tiny head flowed long, soft, golden hair, shining like sunlight after rain. The women gasped. This child is not ordinary. They named her Simi. As Simi grew, strange things followed her. Flowers bloomed where she played. Animals never harmed her. Sick people felt peace around her. The villagers admired her. Her sisters did not. Sandra clenched her fists whenever Simi was praised. Amaka watched quietly, anger burning inside. Neka smiled, but her smile hid poison. Why her? Why does she shine? Are we nothing? Their father slowly softened toward Simi. Their mother loved her deeply, and that was when hatred turned into envy. Jealousy does not shout. It waits. Years passed in Umudike. Simi did not grow like other girls. Her beauty was quiet but overwhelming, the kind that made people stop talking when she entered a place. Her golden hair grew longer, reaching her waist. Her skin remained soft and glowing. Her eyes carried kindness and sadness. She was gentle. She greeted elders respectfully. She helped her mother without complaint. And because of that, people loved her. Young men began to find reasons to pass her father's compound. Some came with firewood, some with palm wine, some with excuses that fooled no one. Women whispered, "That girl will marry a king. She walks like royalty." Her father, Okari, started to smile again. For the first time, he felt pride. But in the same house where Simi was admired, 3 hearts grew bitter. Sandra watched men greet Simi and ignore her. "Am I invisible?" she would mutter. Amaka noticed how elders praised Simi's humility. "Is she pretending?" she wondered. Neka noticed how even her father defended Simi. "This girl has taken everything from us," she thought. Their conversations changed. They no longer spoke Simi's name with love. They spoke it with anger. One evening, MMA Sandra called her daughters. "You are sisters," she said. "Blood should never fight blood." Sandra looked away. Amaka remained silent. Neka nodded politely, but their hearts had already chosen another path. The sisters met secretly at night. The moon watched. Sandra spoke first. "If she did not exist, our lives would be different." Amaka added quietly, "Everything changed because of her." Neka smiled. "Then we change it back." The words hung heavy in the air. No one mentioned death, but everyone thought it. The next day, the sisters changed. They laughed with Simi. They shared food with her. They complimented her hair. Simi was confused but happy. "Maybe they finally love me," she thought. She did not know that evil often wears kindness. One afternoon, Sandra spoke sweetly. "Simi, let us pick fruits to the forest like we used to." Amaka added, "Mother will be happy." Neka smiled. "We are sisters." Simi hesitated but agreed. She trusted them. That was her mistake. The forest was deeper than usual. The birds were silent. The wind felt heavy. Simi felt uneasy. "Have we gone too far?" she asked. Sandra answered sharply, "Are you afraid?" They walked on. Suddenly, Simi stopped. In front of her was a deep hole in the ground. Fresh earth surrounded it. Her heart skipped. "What is this?" she whispered. The sisters' faces changed. Their smiles disappeared. Their eyes became cold. Before Simi could run, they pushed her. Her scream cut through the forest. She fell. Hard. Darkness swallowed her. Sand followed. Earth followed. Her voice faded. Above the hole, silence returned. The sisters wiped their hands. They looked at each other. Neka spoke calmly. "We say a tiger attacked." They returned home crying. "Simi is gone." MMA Sandra collapsed. Okari screamed. The village mourned. But Simi was still alive. Simi hit the ground hard. Pain exploded through her body. Before she could stand, sand began to fall fast, heavy, merciless. She screamed, "Sandra! Amaka! Neka!" No answer. Only the sound of earth burying her. Darkness wrapped around her like a coffin. The hole was narrow. She could barely move. Her fingers bled as she scratched the walls. The air was thin. Her chest burned. She cried until her tears dried. Then she prayed, "God, please." No voice answered. Only silence. As hours passed, memories came. Her mother's voice. Her father's laughter. Her childhood songs. She sang softly to stay awake, because sleep felt like death. By the next day, her body weakened. Her throat burned. Her stomach twisted. She imagined water. She imagined light. She imagined her sisters laughing. That thought hurt the most. Fear turned into anger. "Why me?" she whispered. Her voice echoed strangely. She kicked the wall until her legs shook. Then she stopped, because she heard something. A sound. Heavy breathing. Above her, a deep voice spoke. "Who is there?" Simi froze. Her heart pounded. Was she dead? Was this a spirit? She answered with fear. "I am Simi. Please don't hurt me." The voice sounded confused. "Why are you inside the earth?" She explained everything. The sisters, the jealousy, the betrayal. There was silence. Then movement. Suddenly, light broke through. Hands pulled away soil. Air rushed in. Simi screamed as she was pulled out. She collapsed on the ground. Alive. Free. She looked up. It was not a man. It was not a spirit. It was a monkey, large, calm, intelligent. It looked at her with pity. You cannot return home, it said. Simi trembled. They will kill me. The monkey nodded. I will hide you. The monkey led her deep into the forest. Past paths no human used. Past trees older than time. Until they reached a tall, abandoned tower. The tower stood alone. Broken stairs. Dusty walls. But it was safe. Stay here, the monkey said. I will bring you food. Simi lay on the cold floor. Still shaking. Still alive. She looked at the sky through the broken roof. I survived, she whispered. But she did not know. Her story had just begun. The first morning in the tower arrived gently. Sunlight fell through the broken roof, touching Simi's face like a blessing. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then her body remembered. The fall, the darkness, the betrayal. She sat up slowly, her body aching, her heart heavy. Footsteps echoed outside. Simi's heart raced. Then she saw him, the monkey. He placed fruits and a small calabash of water on the floor. Eat, he said. She did. Slowly, gratefully, tears mixed with fruit juice. Thank you, she whispered. The monkey watched her carefully. Your sisters carry darkness, he said. But darkness cannot live forever. Days passed. Every morning the monkey came. He brought fruits, roots, water. He never stayed long. He never explained himself. Simi healed. Her wounds closed. Her strength returned. But healing brought loneliness. She stared at the walls. She listened to the forest. She missed her mother. At night, fear returned. Will I die here? She wondered. One evening, sadness overwhelmed her. She remembered her mother's voice, a song of faith. She sang, softly at first, then louder. The forest listened. Birds grew quiet. The wind stilled. Unbeknownst to her, the sisters were in the forest that day arguing among themselves. Sandra heard a voice. Do you hear that? Amaka froze. That sounds like Simi. Fear entered their hearts. They ran. When the monkey returned, Simi spoke. My sisters were near. The monkey sighed. Your time of hiding will soon end. Simi looked at the monkey. Gratitude filled her heart. She kissed his forehead. The ground shook. The monkey screamed. Then, he vanished. A prince stood before her. Tall, regal, ashamed. I was cursed, he said, because I saw humans as nothing. An angry spirit punished him. Your kindness freed me. Simi trembled. She had saved royalty without knowing. Sometimes destiny wears fur instead of crowns. And salvation comes disguised as kindness. The prince knelt before Simi, not as royalty, but as a man who had tasted humility. Come with me, he said. You will live in the palace. You will be treated like a queen. Simi's heart raced. Freedom, safety, a new life. But her thoughts returned home. I must see my parents, she said softly. They believe I am dead. The prince nodded. Then we returned to your village. They traveled in silence. Villages passed. Forests bowed. People stared at the prince and at Simi. Her golden hair shone brighter than before. In Umudike, sorrow still lived. MMA Sandra sat quietly every day. Okari had grown older from grief. Then, a crowd formed. Whispers rose. Is that? Simi stepped forward. Her mother screamed. Her father fell to his knees. Tears, shock, joy. My child lives. The village shook with disbelief. From a distance, the sisters watched. Their blood ran cold. How? She was buried. They saw the prince. They saw her glow. And hatred returned stronger than before. The sisters approached her. Knees bent. Tears flowed, false tears. Forgive us, they said. Simi believed them. She always believed in love. Before leaving, Simi went inside to prepare. The sisters followed her. "Let us comb your hair," they said. Simi agreed. They raised the blade. Snip! Her golden hair fell. Simi screamed. Her pain turned to rage. Her hair twisted, turned into snakes. She looked at Sandra. Sandra froze. Her body hardened. She became stone. The others screamed and ran. Horrified by herself, Simi fled. She ran back into the forest. Back to the tower. Simi ran until her legs failed her. Branches cut her skin. Leaves tangled in her clothes. She did not stop. Behind her, the screams of the village faded. Ahead of her, only the forest remained. She reached the tower at dusk. Collapsed, breathing hard. Her head throbbed. The snakes on her head hissed softly. Restless. She cried. "I don't want to hurt anyone," she whispered. She avoided her reflection. She covered her head with cloth. She refused to sing. Even the forest felt distant. Back in the village, the prince noticed her absence. The truth unfolded. The stone sister, the fear. Without hesitation, he went into the forest. Simi waited. Every sound frightened her. She dreamed of turning everyone to stone. She dreamed of being alone forever. One night, footsteps echoed. She screamed, "Don't come closer." The prince spoke calmly. "I am not afraid. Do not look at me," she cried. "You will turn to stone." He stepped closer. "If I must turn to stone for love," he said, "then let it be." He lifted her veil, looked at her fully. He kissed her. Light burst. The snakes screamed and vanished. Her hair returned, longer, softer, more radiant than before. Simi collapsed into his arms. Free, healed, loved. The forest woke gently. Sunlight filtered through the trees, touching Simi's restored hair. It shimmered longer, finer, brighter than ever before. She touched it slowly, afraid it might still be a dream. "It's gone," she whispered. "The curse is gone." The prince smiled. "So is your fear." They began their journey at dawn. This time, Simi did not walk as a fugitive. She walked beside a prince. Villagers along the road bowed, not because they were told to, but because they felt it. There was something royal about her presence. The palace of the prince stood on a hill, carved from stone and gold. Drums sounded as the gates opened. Servants gasped. Elders whispered, "Who is she?" The prince raised his voice. "This is the woman who saved my life." Days later, the kingdom gathered. Cloth of gold covered the ground. The high priest lifted the crown. When it touched Simi's head, the wind moved. The people knelt. Tears filled her eyes. She remembered the hole, the darkness, and now, the throne. The prince ordered the sisters brought. Sandra Stillstone was placed at the palace gate. "Let this be a warning," the prince said. Amaka and Neka were spared death, but they were humbled. They served as palace workers. Watching the sister, they betrayed rule with grace. Simi sent for her parents. When they arrived, dressed in royal cloth, they could not speak. She knelt before them. "You did not lose a child," she said. "You raised a queen." They lived in the palace with honor. Simi ruled with kindness. She fed the hungry. She protected the weak. She listened. The people loved her not because of her beauty but because of her heart. At night, she sometimes touched the ground, remembering where she came from. The earth that buried her became her testimony. The sisters who betrayed her became her lesson. And the pain that broke her became her crown. Queen Simi ruled the kingdom with wisdom and small sarcasm. She fed the poor. She helped widows. She built schools. But any time someone tried nonsense, she smiled and said, "I have been buried before. This one will not kill me." The elders laughed. The offenders behaved. At the palace gate stood a stone statue. Sandra, frozen forever with surprise on her face, as if still asking, "How did this happen?" Every morning, Amaka and Neka swept the palace floors. Tourists pointed at the statue. "Who is that?" And the guards replied, "That is what jealousy looks like when it forgets sense." Amaka and Neka learned quickly. Hatred is expensive. Costs dignity. MMA Sandra changed. Oh, she changed. She went from crying by the fire to bragging in the market. My daughter. Queen. Yes, that one. Women listened. Some rolled their eyes. But everyone knew the truth. One night, rain fell gently. The river goddess smiled in the shadows. I told you, she whispered. Not a son, but a destiny. Simi never forgot her past. Sometimes she joked with the prince. Imagine if I stayed in that hole. The prince shook his head. Then this kingdom would have missed its best ruler. She laughed. And my sisters would still be stressing. If they dig a hole for you, make sure it is deep enough for your story to echo. If they bury you, rise so well they must bow. And if they betray you, forgive but keep receipts. They buried her alive. Now they sweep her palace. They wanted her silent. Now her name opens gates.